what are the key pointers you would like to give to our entrepreneurs in the Arab world?
So good question. So I don't know very much about the landscape, the startup or entrepreneurial landscape of the Arab world. I think that one of the things that I do see when I'm traveling, really outside of Silicon Valley, but especially outside of the United States, is culturally, and again, I don't know if this is true. I'd love to hear feedback whether it's true or not. It's a difficult part of an entrepreneurship culture is the acceptance of failure. So in a lot of cultures, that's really bad. You can't even admit to your parents when you failed, let alone your community. And yet failure that's the standard operating procedure for startups. And so what you want to do is use the failure to your advantage, and that's really what the pivot's all about, right? So you want to be able to you want to be able to know when it is time to change part of your business model. And so you want to hypothesize what you think is the way it should work, and then when it doesn't work that way, are there changes that I can make to try to make it work? And after I've gone through those iterations, is it time to admit failure and that part of my business model is wrong, and now I'm going to pivot? And what the term pivot really means is you're going to change fundamentally some parts of your business model while keeping what you've learned. You keep your pivot foot in what you've learned. Right. And so you have to be able to, in that way, you need to be able to grasp failure. You need to be able to understand it, and you need to not be ashamed of it, and you need to be able to use that to your advantage. And frankly, in my experience, the people who get lean startups and the people who get customer development are people that have had failures. And if you read Eric Ries's book, and if you read Steve Blank's blog and his other writings, you can find that. You can find where they've admitted their failures and that's what pointed them in the right direction. So that's the sort of the number one message. And the number two thing is that you have to be willing to take risks. You have to be disruptive. And sometimes that means, breaking the rules, and then asking for permission later. And that's another tough thing for a lot of cultures to do. I was in Malaysia, and I was talking to this guy who said that he had this idea. There were a bunch of competitors that were doing similar things. He was a little bit lower cost, but there wasn't a lot of differentiation between his competitors. And it was this solution that he wanted to sell to farmers. And he said, but he had to get permission from the government to go and talk to these farmers or something, which I thought was like, really? But I said, I don't want to get you thrown in jail or anything, but I mean, what you should do is get in the car and go drive out there and talk to the farmers. Right. And if you actually can figure out a solution where you can make it easier for these farmers to be more efficient and to use your products, and it improves them as businessmen and that sort of thing, and you find 3 or 4 of them, and then you go talk to the government, then you've got a better case than if you're just trying to go through the bureaucracy first. And so sometimes that's what it takes. It's the risk taking, and it's the breaking of the rules, and actually in the end, maybe what his differentiation is the distribution, right? So it opens up your mind to where your disruption could be. It's maybe not product features. It's maybe, Amazon, right? It's just a distribution play, right? So thinking, once you start thinking about like there aren't rules or whatever, at least in your own mind, it opens up where the creativity might come from and what it actually, maybe there's a larger disruption opportunity there.
Sure. Well, in closing, thank you so much, Brant, for being in our show today. And before we actually close, I just want to show this to our audience. That's your book, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Customer Development. I highly encourage you guys to have a look at it. It's very insightful, and it should be available on Amazon. And I think Amazon also ships to the airport. So there we go. So thank you again, Brant, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you in the Arab world and maybe give some training courses or something like that. And,
well, thanks very much, Vasil. I enjoyed talking to you, and I would love to come to the Arab world and meet the Arab entrepreneurs. And really, I encourage your listeners to reach out to me. My email, brant@marketbynumbers.com, and I'm very active on Twitter @Brant Cooper. And so Again, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great offer for the audience. I would really appreciate that.
Great.
Have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Bye.